Right. Good morning. Good morning. How's everyone doing today? All right. So let's just jump right into things. Overall, the only thing that we are really seeing this morning is yen reversal from yesterday. You're seeing both the pound yen, and actually, it's across the board. It's pound yen is the biggest mover, but dollar yen is there, Aussie yen is there, euro yen is there. Um, Again, it's very, very common. There was actually an article written a little while ago. We talked about how 135 is such a big deal in the hands of the consumer confidence number. It's obviously it's definitely pulled back. So again, the consumer confidence number sitting there. Is it gonna affect it? Well, I can't do it right now. Here, get the ball. Um, it's already kind of pushed away, but it just shows you the significance of that 135 level right here. All right, so everybody knows it's out there. It's not a great secret. But for the most part, I mean, dollar Swiss, nothing. Dollar, I mean, 10 pips in 24 hours, 11 over here, a little bit, 30, and a little bit of dollar strength in there. Um, you know, Nothing too crazy. And again, we knew that this was a really anemic week as far as news goes. Consumer confidence will be, again, kind of a bigger one. I think consumer confidence really just shows you um, it is kind of a forecast going forward about what people they predict to spend, where it's kind of the foreshadow of retail sales, where retail sales is the opposite. It's what did they actually spend money on? With again, a confident consumer in the economy will typically spend more, and again, that filters down to everything else out there. So it's kind of, I guess, it's kind of a leading, but it is just a survey, and surveys are wrong all the time. Kind of one of those things, right? Yellen, obviously speaking right now, talking about the failure of Congress to raise the debt limit will result in economic and financial catastrophe. Um, I don't know to what end, right? I mean, my challenge back to her would be to what end? We have a lot of different crazy spending. Um, all the attempts to control oil have failed. All the attempts to, and again, how many billions of dollars have been filtered now across the Ukraine to what end? And then look at all the problems that we still currently have here and the risks that we do have. So it's nice that you know this was actually on the news this morning as well. I don't know what senator it was that was speaking. Obviously on the left, talking about how the right is holding it. And the questions were, well, what about a compromise if both sides give something up and get something that they want? He was like, nope, it can't happen. It just shows you the political state that they're in, and you know, it goes back to they said that they were by doing this we're handing global power to China and Russia in their beliefs that democracies can't make difficult decisions. But I don't know. I feel like is there some truth in that statement, right? That democracies cannot make difficult decisions. Nobody can agree on anything. Everybody's wrong. Everybody's offended, and then we just ignore everything else. So maybe the truth hurts a lot of times, but who knows? But again, this is considered a super minor release, nothing important. It's pretty bad when someone in her position is has can make comments and they are of so little importance to the overall market. Um, so what we're going to see is consumer confidence coming in the next 20 minutes. We'll see new home sales, and new home sales it shouldn't be too crazy. Manufacturing index, it's not necessarily going to be the biggest mover, but I am very curious to see how it levels out. Um, Empire and Philly all over the place, right? One big up, one big down. They tend to do that. They can never get on the same page. And then tonight we have this Aussie CPI number, and I'm really curious to see again consumer confidence versus CPI. CPI is so much more of an important number. It just means so much more of what where the Aussie is looking at in the future. It looks like it's on a quarterly basis. It's the 1.3 is a great number, getting it back down to their target, their mandate. The trim CPI is there. The overall, again, on a yearly basis, I don't really care about it. I care about more of on a monthly basis type piece. So yeah, well, I feel like it's going in the right direction. Um, and again, also a smaller economy, but also Aussie. The Aussie is also linked very, very closely with China, obviously. So, there's that involved. Um, that's going to be a big one tonight. I'm looking for potential reversals, especially if we see some dollar strength creeping back in. Or actually, it could be dollar weakness. I think this could be a very weak Aussie number. And I'm wondering, though, maybe they went too far on these numbers. They're quite a big of a move in a monthly basis, or on a quarterly basis, but we'll see. We don't see the quarterly numbers too much. Tomorrow morning, again. again, nothing. I mean, look, there I'm clicking everything in here, right? And all we got is durable goods. Now, durable goods orders, they tend to be important. They've been kind of reduced a little bit because with everything out there, not everything can be a top 5 release when there's so much going on. But durable good orders tend to be something in historically in the past that have been important. People have looked at that when it says, okay, what do they look like on a core wise versus regular orders? Um, right now, it's kind of diminished a little bit because then again, everything cannot be a top. It's like you know, for years everybody's like, oh, epic was like the big word, right? Everything was epic, and now it like holds no meaning, right? Everything is epic or elite, using the words too much just dwindle its power, and it's kind of the same thing. This is a bit. This technically for the economy is a big release, but people don't understand it, and there's only so many that can be top things. So again, durable good orders have kind of pushed back to the downside. So we'll see, but that's it. And that's, it's like, wow, we got this and then Aussie data and then we got nothing again tomorrow. It's like, man, it's just that week in the month, right? It's just that week in the month. Biden announces his reelection. I have no idea why, but I mean, even Democrats were originally very against that. I don't know. I mean, a lot of the polls basically suggested that if that was the case, not necessarily a plus. A plus. Um, yeah. Yeah. So that's interesting that we got this, but, you know, we'll see how it goes. I don't know that that's necessarily what the party's looking for. Yeah. So that's it for today as far as news goes. There's just not a lot there. There's not a lot of catalyst today or tomorrow in the next 24 hours. Now, VIX wise, yesterday we mentioned it again, the pop and then the drop back again. That's exactly what he did. We got a little bit of a pop again in the overnight as we seem to be getting. It's a trend now that's been 7 days where we pop, yeah, and we roll back to the downside. Right now, again, it's 4.9% from where we closed. But does that mean it's going to stay there after consumer confidence is out? I mean, if that consumer confidence number is good, gives a little bit of a pop to the indices. And again, the indices are all down right now. Russell being the biggest. Looks like they're starting to they're kind of preparing for a bad consumer confidence number. It's expected to basically be flat, but it looks like it's they're forecasting a little bit on the downside. But with everything pushing back down, is this a pre-market move where it's like, hey, listen, let's push this down so we can get it cheap and then get it up on the up end. The dollar rallying back again, right? And you see this and you're like, well, wait a second, why the heck is the dollar going crazy if consumer confidence is looking the other direction? What it looks like over here is they're trying to prepare as well. Again, if that is negative, if the consumer confidence number is negative, that should push the dollar back down again. And we are seeing nothing but a rally really from late last night. And really here's kind of like that 5 o'clock, 5:30 reversal time frame. It was a nice little pullback. It was 3 down to 5:30 and then a push higher. So, we talked about this being a big level dropping and, I'll take this and just so nobody thinks that I'm cheating here, I'm going to pull it all the way down here. I'm going to copy the top number. I'm going to put it on the bottom number and bam. You can see that was the turning point this morning, right? We hit it, we pushed down and then took off from that level. We knew we had buyers in this whole area right here, right? You can see the ascending wicks, the red candle, we were marking that off here. And again, if we extend this across, you can see that was the takeoff point right smack in the middle. So, it's the right area, right? It's the right area. That Harry Potter is now broken. We've rallied back up again. Going from high to low, I mean, you could technically draw it from here. This is probably the easier one to draw it from. But you can see we are approaching a 50% level. There is basing there, and there's a little bit of a confirmation. If this was any other chart, I'd say, hey, look, there's some potential selling in there. Going into a news time right now, watching this jump up, it does look like, again, if the consumer confidence number is disappointing, this would be a time where you were looking for a reversal in this one, right? Again, we're not trading the Dixie exactly, but we're using this as a proxy for a lot of things. But the reality is, hasn't moved much now. Yesterday, we were talking about the same thing, right? I think it was 101.60 yesterday we were talking about. Yeah, we drove down and then we pulled right back up again. So again, swing trading something along these lines is very difficult when one day it's down, the next day it's back up again, right? And we're seeing that across the board. All the indices right now are a little bit in the red. Commodities, right? We saw pops in most of the commodities, at least the energies. And then today we're seeing the exact opposite. We're seeing them down 1.8%, almost 2% already. So all the commodities are in the red. And could that reverse once the U.S. session's open? Sure, it could. Gold basically completely flat, minus 0.05. It's back at that 1987 mark. Silver, again, in the red, down 1.1%. 24.85. Again, we're low. We're below 25, and again, I think 25 is way too high. So let's roll into some of the currency. So here's where we were set up yesterday. We talked about that 23.6 level, the 67. We tagged that about 7 o'clock last night. So there's your trade, right? Um, there it is. There it is. And your 1 to 3, that's 357 is right there. So again, it is already out. You can see it clicked through this next one, and we were talking about the next level potentially being down here at 66.27. But decent trade. I mean, you got 25 out of this one. If you really wanted to run this one down to 30, it was right there. You still would have gotten taken out right away, depending on how much float you put in. But we mentioned that 67 flat was a big deal. We were not looking at the 23.6 level. We were looking at the confirmations off this level. So there you go. It was out at 3 o'clock this morning. There's an overnight one that had you set yesterday. Again, you were good to go. We are approaching this level of 66.27, looking at that zone. It was a base with a confirmation, and then it barely kind of used it. It just tapped the top side and then took off. So, yeah, I think right now we're getting really, really close. It is driving very, very fast. It's only got 7 more pips to go. We got 15 minutes to go. We'll see if it can base down here, and it may need to kind of push through. Again, this is a lot of let's see. There's 3 o'clock, so we're at about 55 pips since the European Open. It's got a 69 pip daily ATR, so it does have a little bit more room to run in there. Kip, get out! Come on, go, 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 go. All right, he's killed one of the monitors. So I have no idea if you guys are saying anything. Can't see anything. I try to be nice and let him go under, and now we're down a monitor. So yeah, maybe it comes back, but probably not until later. That's what happens when he uses your desk as a cave. All right, so if you guys type, I can try to pull it down on one of the other ones if I can see it. If it does pop back up, I'll pull it back down. So just understand if you guys are typing or asking questions, I may not be able to see it. Thanks to the little buddy climbing under and grabbing the cord. Anyway, 6627, great time for reversal. 1030 is typically where we want it. We'll see what the consumer confidence number does and bounces through. Ideally, it will be sitting down here. And again, this is a lot of pre-movement ahead of time. And again, if that consumer confidence number is lower than expected, it's supposed to be completely flat. That would be a dollar weakness based sign, even though it doesn't really change too much for the Fed. Dollar weakness in this case sends this pair higher. So kind of lining up, but in the overnight, you are officially out of that trade from yesterday. Aussie, same thing. This one tagged late last night. At 11 o'clock, we were hitting a zone right here, and we said, hey, there's probably one more in this one. We were sitting there at chart school yesterday, and you can see there's where you're officially out of the trade. It took to about 7 p.m. last night. And again, it did tag at another time right before that last push, but you are out of that. We talked about a break of 89.27 down to 89.01, and you can see we came down, we based, and we pulled back up again, and it actually did a fair to go lower in there as well and punched through. And this was another one, 8 for 25. So not only did you have the original 25 from this one, we talked about a reversal. There was another 20, there's another 30 here and another 25 right here. And if you had held it for 30, it went even beyond that. And now it's pushing lower. So as far as the yen goes, understand we are getting into another kind of Harry Potter piece right now. It is a 61.8, but my concern about this one is we've just had 3 shorts right in a row all the way to the downside. It is a 61, so people will be looking for that one. And remember, the one thing about this one is it was not as clean. The profit taking on this one, again, it is a mirror bottom, so it's not. Come on, out, 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 out. Come on, out. I don't want you under the desk. Come on, you got 3 rooms to plan. Under the desk is not where we're doing it. This one is not as clean, especially after the move that we've had so far. The current move that we are in goes from here down, which is 123 pips. It does have an 89 pip daily ATR, so it is kind of getting to that exhaustion-based phase there. And that's why I'm kind of a little bit more leery. I'd like to see a pullback. And again, consumer confidence will affect the yen, but we've had so much yen movement so far. I think at this point, it's kind of like, listen, we've just had 2 successful trades in this one. And the reality is, if you were trailing this one with a color change, you're still in this original trade, right? There was a green here, right? There was a green here. I guess if you did the red, let's see. You're looking for a green, red that went below. Green, obviously down here, the red broke through, not there. Green, the red broke through, not there. Green, the red did not go through, but the green did not break through either and continued in. So technically, you could still be in this if you were trailing this one, and you're at a 1 to 12 and a half. You risk 10 and you're up, what, 117, right? 117 on that one still, if you were continuing to trail. So yeah, it's still moving. You could be in this one. Again, we did talk about this. This one is not as good as either of these other two out there, but be aware that it is there. I'd like to see it again, not trigger till after the news though. I don't want it to. I'd like it to base in here because of the news and then pull down and pull back up to continue. If it's a non-issue, right? If it's a non-issue news release that it doesn't change the trajectory at all, I think that's where the base comes back in again. But again, 2 more cents here. Euro dollar. All right. So euro dollar, we're back down at 110. We talked about a level here yesterday about being this an entire area. If I continue this across, you can see we tagged it late last night at about 7 p.m. It did hit it. We mentioned that, hey, listen, it did push it pretty deep last time. It was a big area, 4-hour area of selling. It's always great when this works out. I think with some of the other trades that we've already seen out there, there was actually better opportunities, I think. But if you were looking at this one and you're a specialist in the euro dollar, I mean, all I did was, again, easy basing here. There's a confirmation. There's a deep touch. And again, that's why I wouldn't say it was an A++ trade. But if you extend that across, you can see that's exactly what we tagged. It pulled back down again. And here was that old broken level that we knew was breaking. It based, it pulled back. And again, another little Harry Potter kind of continuation. But difference with this one is we didn't have a 1 to 3. We knew that the 110 was sitting there and there were confirmed buyers sitting on the 110. So had you taken this one, you're up in the trade right now, about 30 pips. Again, 30 for me. You guys know how I feel about 30, 35 pips. I think that's a great target level. It is hitting that 35 pips and it's hitting the 110 on that one with buyers. It's like, man, you may want to take that one off a little bit early, right? But again, another little easy trade from that reversal. And again, if this is the one you love, this is your flavor of the night, you probably got into that one as well. And this one ran pretty decently. What, 70 pips? Again, looking for a color change in this one, right? Green here, red here, and it's kind of like, that red kind of came to the bottom and green stopped. Maybe you pulled yourself out here, but green, again, red, green did not close as below. So technically, you could still be trailing this one. If you did this one off the peaks, right? If you were trailing this one off the peaks, once that occurred there, you may have said, okay, well, listen, I need to close below this to drag it. If you did that, you drug it here. Now you've drug it here because it's closed below, and you're still continuing to trail this one. So still some trailing going on. Not a horrible base position. Okay. Right now, as far as reversals go, again, we're back at 110. Could we see a reversal right now with that dollar weakness? Absolutely. We're at a level right now where it would happen. Is it super clean? Is the risk worth it right here? And I mean, if you're really looking for that dollar reversal, I like the Aussie dollar better than this one. I'd really like to see this come back down, and we got some room to run before we had a really clean buy. There's a bunch of small little levels in here, but a lot of kind of whips down. So not, not really necessarily in love with that one. All right. Euro pound. All right. So euro pound. There's 1, there's 2, there's 3. We expected a break and it went through. We know we got a big area of selling up here, right? We've hit it multiple times before. It looks like we've hit it. We've kind of finally broken out of the top side of it. We can extend this up now officially. And you can see where this one is. There is obviously the 3 touches on this broken level here, but I don't want to use it necessarily. The way that I'm looking at this one right now is I'm trying to find a decent top. We have had some pound data this morning. Where is it, right? The people need to accept that the poor. Factory orders, contract again, but price pressures ease. That's a great thing. Where is it? There was another one too that I liked. Where was it? There was another statement that I was like, yeah, that's not bad, right? Basically, just talking about how the pound is, again, uh, c- it's weaker than what people had originally thought, but the world is not ending. They're getting price pressure release, which is what they need the most, right? That's what all economies need. So I would say my opinion on this right now is between the two. I think the euro's in a little bit better of a place. I do think that we are probably due for a little bit of a reversal. But do we have a great trade entry? Not really, right? We've poked up here enough times. We've done the base there. I will say, if I peel this back just a little bit to look at it, in looking at this, now remember, this one only has a 42 pip ATR. It is not a monstrous mover. Right now, it is better to use this as an indicator or a proxy than it is actually trade setups. But ideally, if this is where we're going to, get some basing in here, this is not a big level. there is a little bit of a racetrack back to the downside. And the bottom, again, touch, 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 touch. It's been here a few times. It looks like if this is the top, this has the potential to roll back down into this 50, 88, 35 area, right? This 50% retracement level. Again, there's a lot of drama, a lot of popping over here, right? So I think it's probably due, but we need a little bit more. All right. Now, Euro yen. Euro yen, we were talking about reversals. We talked about getting up to the 149. You can see it did. It came through the 148 figure, and that was kind of our next area. Late last night, it kind of ran into, I'd say, that's what you doing? Ran into this. Okay. Ideally, yes, it's a failure to go higher. It did give us one more pop, and at 2 o'clock, right at the European Open, it did kind of punch it. It did go through by like 1.5, a very, very small amount, and then it collapsed like the other pairs. Um, I think the important part to bring up about this one is we were calling about potentially finding yen reversals somewhere because it was so extended. Looking for yen strength to come back in. And I talk about proxies. Right here, we're seeing the exact opposite, right? We're seeing euro strength, pound weakness. If we are looking for one of these two to get weak, we typically would want to take the pound as being the weaker because the yen is, I'm sorry, the euro is very, very high. So it was a trade. It was a nice push. You can see it based right here where it should have. It came back down again at the 50 and then it has now sliced through. And we had mentioned that we had a Harry Potter trade set up here. Kip, stop. Get out. You're going in the crib next time. The monitor just flashed back on and he knocked it out again. All right. So we are at a level here again, a breakthrough 147.12. It's got a base in there first and foremost. I think this one has a very, I don't want to say very low chance, but it has a kind of a low chance just because we've seen so much yen. Again, it's not tons, but it's a lot of yen movement in this one, right? Combined with a little bit of weakness on everybody else. We are pushing right into consumer confidence. Consumer confidence will affect the Dow in a second. This is a lot to be able to say, hey, again, if it continues down, it will slice through, will not pause. So we kind of need to be a no factor. We need it to base in here first before it goes through. So this is one of those ones that may get destroyed very quickly. If this turns and bounces and pops all the way back up again, I'm going to have zero surprise. At the same time, it could just slice right through, again, in one candle. We may not necessarily get the base. I mean, this strategy, right, this Harry Potter strategy is a very rule-based strategy. Rule-wise, it's got everything we need. But we have news coming in right now, it's the best news we got today. It could absolutely be a catalyst to give us a candle straight down or a candle back up again. With it driving into that zone right now, again, I think the probabilities are high. So hopefully it's a no factor. It just bases sideways and we see a continuation. That would be awesome. So this trade can complete. Remember, this is, the Harry Potter is not really a news-based strategy. It just doesn't work that way. Okay. I love this. This is so much better than the actual buttons, right? It's like, man, look at that. Timers, right? Let's see. Pound dollar. All right. So pound dollar did the same thing. It's been all dollar strength coming back down again. You can see we're out of this trade. And again, whether it be here or over here, it hit twice. There's one, there's two, there's three, four. It broke through. And then magically it started doing this base on the other side again. I would say there was a little bit of a pullback. If you're looking for like a 530 reversal time frame, there was a trade there. I don't think you would have got entered. Depending on your broker, it may have gone just a little tiny bit higher. You may have gotten into that one. But for the most part, we got up to 125. You were looking for a turn and reversal. It did what it's supposed to do. It's kind of pushing back down. So let's see how this ticks out. Oh, we got 26 seconds. Right now, I would say let's pull these off. Those trades are out. That level is done. The 78 was hit, so let's pull that off. Let's do this side, and we'll go from the low there to the high there. Yeah, there's not really anything. I mean, looking at the levels here, there's no level here. There's a little bit here. 78, we've cleared the 60. Let's see, what do we got here? Pending, look at this. I love how it blinks, man. It's like, woo, woo. Such an upgrade. Such an upgrade. All right, there you go. New home sales, that's a good number, right? 50,000 more than it was expected to be lower, so that's good. New home sales. Richmond manufacturing, a little bit worse, but that's, you know what? That's really within range. I mean, compared to what Empire and Philly did, that's way closer. So that's more in line. I would say that's good. Come on, give me the consumer confidence number. Ooh, so there we go. Remember we said the consumer confidence being lower could leading to dollar weakness. There you go. That's the again, that's the move we're looking for. So let's see what is the dollar is doing. Yeah, look at that. Look how that's working. Right? Right? Came right back up to a confirmed 50% retracement level. And again, red news, and you're starting to see the dollar pull back again. So see how that worked? They kind of pushed it that way. Um, so close, right? So close. And look at that sitting on the 110. So, um, yeah. So it is technically a dollar week. I don't think it changes the Fed's opinion too much. Again, it's just consumer confidence. It doesn't mean they're not going to expend, not spend. And again, it is a survey, so it's not like the highest quality level of economic. It's not like an interest rate change that is like a final, like, yep, that's it. So there will be some chop back and forth on that one. Overall indices, we'll see what they do in a second. It's kind of one of those ones that's like, oh, that means they're not going to raise interest rates. It's not going to affect that, but at the same time, lower confidence should lead to lower spending, which is lower earnings, which again is not really what you want to see for the indices, for stocks in general, right? For stocks in general. So the question is, are people going to look at that and be like, oh, that's it. Are they going to be more focused on the interest rate rises, or are they going to be more focused on the other side of the coin of like, holy crap, earnings are going to be bad, right? Companies are going to start laying more people off. Yeah, we're heading to the recession because confidence is going down. People spend less, right? It's kind of that like, magic eight ball kind of thing, right? Um, Pound yen. All right. So pound yen. Again, this is one of the ones we talked about. We talked about a reversal. There was a reversal, came in late last night. I mentioned yesterday we were sitting right here. And I said, this level's done. Don't look at it anymore. It had started to push through. I said, if we can get up to 167.86 in the overnight, decent. And it did. It hit it last night at around 7 o'clock. Small trade. It was 11 for 35. It blew it out of the water. I mean, it kind of came up and then just continued to push down. There was a little bit of a Harry Potter trade. We didn't have the luxury of setting it because we didn't know that this one was going to come down. But had you been looking for a push in there, you can see there was actually a Harry Potter trade that came in right at 5 o'clock. At 5:30, again, the 3 o'clock candle was here, pushed us down. We reversed back up, and then we continued that trend. So there was actually a second trade in this one. Again, it looks like all the yen pairs had it. There was the one that we mentioned here. Again, we didn't have the luxury of seeing this, so we didn't know we could set a Harry Potter there. It did base, and again, grab where it should have, pulled back and went down. So unfortunately, we talked about a break of 166.45. I mentioned this one that, again, after two kind of consecutive Harry Potters. Number three, I like the setup. It based above, so a little bit harder. I have no idea who that is. It's a weird number. Don't know that number. Anyway, with it pushing back down again, the 166 number. I think the hard part about this one is we are going to beat a round number. 166 is not as good as 165 or 160 or 170. But it is a round number. We do know that we have buying in there. That's what took this thing off. I think at this point, if we start to rally back up, because it's on the receiving end of a big drop, and again, this started late last night, it's 194 pips. It does have 147 daily ATR. So again, it is beyond. It's not quite 1.5 times, but it's pretty close. We are getting out of the average, kind of what you would typically like to see. And again, look at this one. If you want to see how kind of what the range looks like, you can see we were having pinching last night when we hit, and look how wide it is now. We've gone from here all the way to here. That's a wide bit. This is what the pinch looked like, right? This is what the pinch looked like. And you go all the way through here, except minus the big extremes, I would say that the average is probably like this, right? You can see what the width differences look like right now. So I would expect buying to come in. We've gone from high in the curve to low in the curve. We would expect a reversal. We are beyond kind of the normal extension. As far as the Harry Potter goes here, I would expect it to come back up and probably stabilize itself. If anything, what I think we should do on this one, if you do want to continue to take this one short, you can sit on my lap, but if you want to go to sleep, would be looking at something along these lines. Okay, see this zone right here. I think if we can get back up to this level, this would be a better short versus the old break here. We sliced through it, but the basing was sitting up there. That's in close enough proximity. It is a level on top of a level, so there are two pullbacks here. One is situated between the 50 and 61.8, although I kind of like the formation of this candle better than the formation of that candle. and then the exit I think is better than the exit there. So that would require a reversal of 63 back up again, which would kind of make sense, right? So just keep that on your radar again. Unfortunately, I don't think using this one as a Harry Potter would be decent, particularly because we had this one here, and then we had this entrance right there as well. So yeah, and again, we didn't have the luxury of being able to draw this one because we were sitting right here yesterday at 10:30. This base was just being put in at 11:30. Had this base been put in, then yes, that's one we would have talked about again. Mirror bottom, we're not concerned. We'd have been talking about a push all the way down to this level. So that's why you got to watch your charts all day long. Dollar CAD. So dollar CAD. It did finally push through. We had the 135 again down. We based. We went down and we ended up grabbing it again late last night. Right. We ended up grabbing that same level, light, confirmation, light touch, light touch, light touch, and that was a reversal. It came back up, finally chopped through. Again, you can see all the basing, and it kind of Harry Potter through. Um, this one, it kind of makes sense. I mean, I'm looking for a good top in this one. I don't think we have it right now. You can see the 23 is not there. Let's pull that off. We'll leave that. We know where we are right now. We are up kind of at a 61 on a larger time frame. But if you look beyond where the 61 level is, it did push it over 50% of the way. So not perfect. Little bit of a runner. It looks like 136.60 is the next area where we had any type of basing, like a slowdown and a pullback. It's got some room to run. It's got like another 30, 40 pips to go before we get there. I kind of feel like it should go there with oil, taking a bit of a hit today, being back down at 77. It is helping diminish the CAD a bit. Come here, bud. Come here. Sit in my lap. There you go. If you want to take a nap, just sit here. Right? You're tired, you sit here. I do feel again it's losing some of its strength. We have pauses coming in. I think the US is going to raise a lot of fundamental reasons why I think this one has the ability to go higher. Um could it reverse here? Sure, especially with the news we just got. Do I love this as an entry just being a 61? I don't love the second hit. I don't love that it spent 5 candles there and then kind of had to come back down again. Even the original zone was not that great. Really, the best thing about it is that it's a 61.8. What? 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 You want to wear it? Do you want to wear the headset? Here. There's no sound. There's no noise. There you go. So that's kind of my problem with this one. Again, what else have we got? Durable goods and GDP. I like both these better. I would kind of like this one to fight back again, stabilize, and give us a good candle. We just don't have a good candle right now until we get up to here, and maybe this is where it goes. Right? I like that candle. I don't like the base that it was there, but maybe this is the maybe that's where we look for reversals. If we can line it up for news, the 136.56. What you doing, buds? All right. What else we got here? Dollar Swiss. So dollar Swiss. There's the Harry Potter from yesterday. Again, we talked about it. We talked about it basing and getting a buy signal. This did not get stopped this morning. It did not get stopped. We talked about coming down to 188. So let's move this out of the way. Right? No. I know you went to. He's trying to hit the buttons. So profit target was hit. So let's take that off. Let's take this and put our long position in. And again, it did trigger at 7 o'clock last night. Okay. This did not actually get stopped when I'm drawing it. I know it's doing it right now, but it did not get stopped because I had that on the bottom. That's what your trade looked like in the overnight. Okay. It got really, really close, right? But it did not get taken out, right? Again, here's how I know. You see the piece here? There's the bottom. Right there. Okay. You see the difference? So I knew it wasn't. I knew it hadn't been stopped out. But obviously it went past the 1 to 3. There you go. There you go. There's no sound though. There's no sound right now. It just makes it quiet. So where we are now, it's again we just got out of this trade at 9 o'clock. It's kind of one of those ones where we kind of stabilize and wait and see. You can see that there was actually I guess There, it never hit the 23. Now it just blew right through the 23. So we'll move this. We're gonna pull this Harry Potter off. Mm, I would say this is a profit target, not a reversal scenario. What you doing, buds? I will put it back on. Here, right here. Here. Hold on one sec, guys. Let me grab his Miss Rachel here. He's gonna this will keep him quiet for at least 15 minutes. So anyway, where it is right now, I think the next level we're really looking at is potentially right here. We do have a little bit of a confirmation off it. It has hit, but it is a 50. The 6218 is just a bunch of slices through, so I'm not concerned about that. And there is something at the 78. We did go from low to high, so now we are punching through to the top side. Again, I said yesterday the only one I liked was the 8869. We hit it again. Obviously not stopped out when I adjusted the green lines correctly off of this, but off of this base. Again, you can see, and there's actually even space there now. It was not a stop out. It got really, really close though. I mean, there's no denying that one. Um, yeah, out of a trade, not much we can do. But again, I think it's the fourth or fifth trade in the overnight from yesterday's session, which is awesome because it was so flat yesterday morning. It's nice that we were able to get this many out of it. And dollar yen. So dollar yen, we're looking for 135. It ended up reversing on us. It did put a top in yesterday, right around that 1030 mark. We said that, hey, listen, it hasn't gone any higher. It did come down. You can see it based on the 50. It grabbed the 61.8. Again, there was absolutely sellers in here, right? Absolutely. I'm sorry, buyers sitting right there. Um, it pushed back up, grabbed levels, and it's pushed down. So I mean, we can take the fibs off. We don't need the fibs on there. This level's been pushed through multiple times. One, two, three. That's gone. I think we're still looking for a break of 133. I think this one is still in order. Um, top side, again, I think it's 135. So you want this or not want this? Here, just sit here. I told everybody you would be quiet, and now you're smacking the keyboard again. Right? There you go. Watch Miss Rachel. Um, yeah, I mean, maybe we get that dollar. I mean, maybe we continue this dollar weakness trend and get some yen strength in here. And if we do, again, the break of 133.63. It's the same thing we talked about, knowing there's a base there. So, yeah, maybe this is the next one, the drop. So, it did have the pullback, but all the other yen pairs are better. Aussie yen I like better. Euro yen was better, and the pound yen especially was better. So, yeah, it dropped. Obviously, it's down, but I like the other ones. Yesterday I mentioned I like all of them better. So, yeah. Let's go to crude. All right, so crude. Um, it's magically like crude new, right? Here's three touches up top. It did not break, right? This was put in yesterday at 1 o'clock in the afternoon, right there. You can see that that was tagged at late last night at 7 p.m. And then this morning at 3 o'clock in the morning, we are hitting that third level. Okay. So again, failure to go higher scenario, came back and grabbed it. And then from basically 3 o'clock on, straight down. Okay. Is this justified? I would have to say, yeah. You know, remember, I don't know if you guys saw it or not. There was an article about, let's see, can I find it over here? Maybe not. Economy is in a freight recession with China decline continuing. Yeah, I agree, which jacks up our inflation. Um, Basically, there was an article talking about the amount of oil that India is taking in and where it's coming from. And guess what? It's not us. It's not us. So yeah, being the oil exporter, yeah, it wasn't coming from us. Anyway, with the consumer confidence down, less spending, less driving, more conservative fiscal policy, household, it should be down. And it's like they kind of knew from late last night, or at least the European session. So where it is now, I think we're at an interesting spot to have a discussion. This is an area down here, the 6770. We talked about it. We know that we're still in this gap racetrack, right? Again, this is a candle that we painted on. There was that huge gap that we saw last month, right? I think at this point, if we see a base in this level, I think if we get the 67.70 break, we look for this to run down to 1 or to 75.70. Okay. Now I'm going to say this: with the prices this low, I better see my gas go back down to 314 again. Like 310, 318, whatever it is. We're still back up at 340. Um, but this is what we've seen, right? This was last week. This is this week. And for me, I'm still holding at 340. Right. So I need to come back down again. I'm looking for like 310. Right. That's what I'm looking for. But if we break through here, I think 75.70 is needs to be back on the radar. Right. It's there. So again, simple hair potted base, pushes at the brinks, hit it again, hit it again. There's your 3 hits. Look for this one to be a nice little run to the downside with an overall target here. Let's put a target down here. There you go. Okay. Natural gas. Honestly, we talked about this yesterday. At 2 p.m. yesterday afternoon, it did hit the 227. We were sitting right here. We had kind of hit it once already and pushed down, and we hit it again, and it just continued to deteriorate. Is this really trending? No. It's just a channel between the 50 and 0%. We're kind of, I mean, where we were at 9:30, we're basically the same spot. It looks like it's down huge only because it closed up higher, but we're still trending the same exact direction. But that 227 was a magic number yesterday. Um, I think we need to be cautious with that 227 number now. Again, 1, 2, 3, 4 is based in there with a little confirmation. It's hit, but the reality is, how many more times can we save it? And beyond that, there's not a lot there. So at this point, if we do rally higher, I think we really need to start looking up top. Overall, I think this still gets down to 211 this week. I think that's where we're looking forward to the downside. Okay. Gold. Gold late last night used that 2000 number. And again, you may say, why did it turn here? Well, it's the 2000 number. It's a huge mark. The second it breaks above, people start saying, oh, it's above 2000, go long. And every one of those people that listened to that guy that said it's above 2000, go long, immediately got stopped down and went all the way back down to 1975. And now we're sitting back down at 1985, right? The good years, right? The good years. I think this one is going to start having problems with this 1975 level. You can see we have it on the near side here, right? Oops, not what I was looking for. This one, right? 1973-ish, right? Stabilized, confirmed, confirmed. This one came down and touched down to the 1974-ish level. I think we're really going to have to start discussing. Listen, 1979 down to 1950, I believe, is about to become on the radar, right? It is stabilized. It's supported itself a few times, but we're hitting that 3, 4, even potentially the 5 hit mark. I think this one is. I think we have to start really watching out for this one. Now we know that we don't have a lot of news releases to help drive it, but once we start coming down and basing, is I think when this one becomes a real big factor. Um, I think we're probably a day, 2 days out. Like I said, I don't know if durable goods is going to do it. GDP and unemployment claims are about the only, maybe the GDP part of it. Again, the advanced quarterly GDP. Maybe that's what we need to drive this lower, right? Yeah, maybe. And again, core PCE forecast right now to be holding, not dropping anymore. Hmm. Employment cost index going higher. Great. Lovely. Yeah, I like gold short. I think we go through here. I think 1950 is our next target to the downside. Silver, again, silver jumping around. Um, again, we're talking about a Harry Potter here. Went right back down, came right back up. There's no real base. We're looking for a breakthrough. I'd like to see some type of a basing in here on our way back down to 24. Right now, we don't have it. Straight down, straight up, and we're sitting right on that line. So we're calling for the short. Again, overall, we want a 24.38 target on our way down. I think we base it at 24.38. Looking for 24 eventually. And I think this one, right now, with the way that it looks, I think 24 could be on the table this week as well. Let's see what Apple's got. Apple, again, more or less sideways. It did have a nice little pop up. And again, there's sellers that confirmed that it turned and rolled. Look at this, right? Whoops. There's your base with your confirmation. That's exactly what we ran into. So not much there. Tesla, what do we got here? Same thing. It's pushing up back into an area sellers did yesterday. So, and nothing great. What do we got with the VIX? Yeah, VIX starting to push back down now. Nice little spot. This should start to roll. Probably ends up over in here, about 17.25. Dollar, dollar taking off, dollar taking off. Right, and again, this is probably more people trying to sell it right now. You can see the initial response to it. Um, yeah, well, I mean, overall the data wasn't horrible. Right, this is a good sign. This is insignificant. This it's a forecast. It doesn't tell us much, but this was a good sign. Right. Um, so yeah, this is probably more short squeeze than anything else. Let's see what we got here. All right. So thus far, the 930 candle popped up. Yeah, they're taking it negative. Again, as far as opening print goes, you can see from really 730, right where this base is, right. It did push down, but it hit it one, two, three times. Okay, this was technically the fourth hit, so not really an area we want to go long from. As far as the top side goes, there's a confirmation up here. We weren't really at it, but same thing. You can see peak here, peak here. That was higher. This isn't going to hold it. Okay. It actually just pushed us like right at the top. Downside, kind of the same thing. Low, low, low. This was actually the fourth hit, so we weren't looking at it. So opening print is nothing. Right now, though, with the way the market is taking it, not necessarily surprised. Let's see, that one went out. Finished yesterday. Let's take all these off to the downside. Right now, they're taking it as, oh my God, the spender's going to stop spending. Right? Consumer confidence is down. They're not as concerned about this. They're not concerned about this. They're looking at this and not focusing on the dollar. They're focusing on earnings, right? They're focusing on earnings. So, yeah, I think this is okay. I think actually this is the right call. A lot of times I don't necessarily agree with the overall stock market. I don't think that this affects the Fed. The Fed is looking at inflation. A survey on confidence not going to affect the Fed, right? Everybody, if you ask all these people, is the Fed doing a good job? Their answer is going to be no anyway. So the Fed doesn't necessarily care what these guys have to say. But as far as the overall stock market and the fundamental nature of that release, I think this is doing the right thing. I think it should be going down today. Maybe it finds some buyers. Let's see. What are we playing with over here? Yeah, there's some buyers there. Again, here's a 78.6. I'm not a huge fan of the 78.6 level. But I think again, we will have some profit taking coming in. Can we end green on the day? I don't really feel like we should be. I feel like it deserves to be red today based off of what we've seen and what that data is. So yeah, but no opening print. Again, three touches high, three touches low. Absolutely not an opening print based strategy or setup. Same thing. Look, there was a zone there. There's one confirmation. There's two confirmations. There's three confirmations. It did push down, but are we playing with this one? No. 1, 2, 3, and 4. You're not taking that one short. It did go short from there. Do you want to cherry pick that one and say, yeah, there you go. Look, it worked. Not smart. 1, 2, and 3. Again, the 930 candle is here. Would you have taken this one long? 1, 2. No, not really, especially because of the close proximity. If you're going to say, hey, listen, I mean, really, here's the original base, but you could say that there's the confirmations, kind of a large level, and it's right on top in the 1300. So, no, nothing clean on this one either on NQ. YM, 915, 930. The confirmation is not up until here. It happened late last night, so kind of the overnight. 8:45, 9:15. Uh, I guess if you wanted to be aggressive, you guys could have traded this one. This I would not have said, hey, listen, there's the base, there's your confirmation. Not really. You could have said that, here's your base and there's your touch, but if you're saying that that was your base and this is your touch, I mean, it's already poked here. It poked here and went away. This is technically hit number 3 at 9:15. Not a very high probability of that one holding either. And we're kind of in the middle of the range. The top one is better. Do I love that one? You could, I guess, say there, this base right here. Do I love that one? Not really. Could you have aggressively taken it? Sure. Right. You could have taken it off this green candle. Boxing the green off. It touched, it went down. If you did it, congratulations, good for you. It wouldn't have meant it for me. I did not trade that one, and I've been very leery about 930 taking that one. It's basing, it's stabilized where it should, but I don't necessarily love that one. This was the weakest of all of them right now. Let's see, Russell. 915 again. Not really a confirmation on the bottom. The top side was not really confirmed in the overnight. Again, if you wanted to be overly aggressive, you could say, hey, listen, there's a decent base right there. That base came in at 8:30 this morning and then pulled away. So this is a pullback up in a trend continuation. It did. It spiked up at 9:30. You could have traded this one. And again, not necessarily the rules of the opening print. This is more of a trend continuation trade, finding a level of basing and waiting for it to pull back. And it did. It did. I would say if you were trading that one, fine. This one is better than what the YM short would be. But as far as any of the overnights, again, 1, 2, not a real big fan of it. And again, topside, there was no confirmations in the overnight. So it was purely a US based move, but it just a trend continuation, a new top put in, and then unable to go through. And a nice little reversal at 9:30 from the up. But again, kind of funny, right? 415 went straight up into the US session. We rolled in the US session. It's rolled right back down to where the overnight lows were. Kind of funny how that works out. So, yeah. Yeah, I'd say overall, nothing too crazy. Again, we're trying to push through on this one. I'm sure everybody and their brother's trying to short that one right now. VIX spiking because these are getting more red. Crude, again, crude trying to go through. Again, trying to fight that one. Trying to fight that one. That's out. Again, nice little push down. Funny, this one's giving dollar strength on the 15. But again, running into problems. Euro play. It's basing, but it's trying. All the way at the bottom. No base. Dollar CAD's trying to find that top. Dollar Swiss doing the same thing. And this is reversing as well. So, yeah, interesting spots. Natural gas going back down. These two should absolutely be going back down. So it's really trying hard too. Trying really hard. So, all right, let's go ahead and do the drawing for today. All right, we got our 5 usual suspects back in today. Let's see who takes it. I will give you guys 30 seconds like I historically do. At 2:30, I will go ahead and close this one down. We'll get the window. This is probably the same thing. It's so funny because we've been streaming for so long now. I think it's been like 4 years. I have all these ads. Like I got like HelloFresh wants to sponsor me. If you guys ever watch YouTube, like so the big ones are HelloFresh, right? Is it HelloFresh? Whatever that one. Yeah, it's whatever the food delivery service is, and then Raid Shadow Legends. Yeah, Raid Shadow Legends wants me pretty bad too. They're like, we have you have sponsored, they would like to sponsor you. I'm like, okay. Like, all right. I don't know that any of my group plays Raid Shadow Legends, but they want me to they want to sponsor me. Although the HelloFresh thing, I get whatever it is, HelloFresh, whatever the delivery service is, I think you get a free meal out of it. Maybe I will do that one time. Like if you guys get like a free meal, why not? It's free food, right? You could just send it all to me. I'll take the free food. So, all right, let's do all the drawing. Let's see who's got it for today. Winner of today's drawing is ooh, as Bud Buds would say. Kip goes ooh. Hey Kip, ooh. Can you give me an ooh? Not an ooh today. All right, Debbie takes it with 1. Look at that. Debbie had a 10% chance. I think it's HelloFresh. I really think it is. I don't know. I should look at it because they blast me with the things. It's like, hey, you should sponsor. We'd like to sponsor your stream. And I'm like, oh, okay. Curse is foiled again. I know, Neuro. Hey, you played that one right. Although you are negative overall, you played the first win right. You were positive playing for today to go heavier to go for that 100. So yeah, you used 40 pip chips today, but you were trying to bank that one, playing the long game, right? There's something to be said about the long game. So let's give Debbie her 25 in there. She gained some ground on you today, Neuro. But that's all right. Again, small losses, big wins, right? Small losses, big wins. It actually it looks kind of respectable now, right? But it's funny. Look at this. 24 hours, it's down, but it's up in the last 15. Down, up in the last 15. Down, up in the last 15. Up, down in the last 15. This is on. Down in the last 24. Up in the last 15. Reversing, down. Hourly, it's up, right? This is what swing traders hate to see. A 24-hour change here, and then the smaller time frames reverse in the other direction. So fun. All right, with that, I'm out of here. I'll catch you guys tomorrow morning, 9:30 Eastern Standard Time. Thank you for joining me for today. Sorry about some of the technical difficulties. If you ask any questions, um, again, I apologize. Kip got under there, snagged one of the monitor cords, and again, I think it's a cord that's faltering anyway. But sorry about that. So I will see you guys tomorrow. Everybody have a great day. Stay safe. Good trading, and I'll see you then. Take care.